guys, how's it going? So we're out here for day 2 of tree planting along our back border. We're going to start our mixed border of deciduous and evergreen. I kind of showed you recently when we planted the south garden trees what we were setting up to do back here. So we'll go more into depth on that. In fact, I'm kind of glad we set the trees back here and just had them back here for several days, actually, so I could look at them and decide. I think I'm going to take one of the blue spruces out because I think it's going to get a little bit too big in the end for the spot where we have it, but I'll talk through all of those things with you guys. And this is just going to be a start, a good start, but it's a start. We're going to be adding more shrubs and things like that in, and probably some more spring interest and so on and so forth. But you can see some of them behind me. It's so exciting. So this is where we're at. There's Russell. This one tipped over last night. We didn't have any wind. Some of the root balls, though, aren't super flat on the bottom, so we just leave it. If they fall down, we just leave them so that they don't keep falling and possibly break branches. But you can see all the way to the end here what we've got. Now, the only thing that we're really kind of working around is the sensation box elder. There's really not a whole lot of other big things anyway. Lots of perennials that I'll work on moving. We do have a black lace elderberry shrub that we may take out. It actually grows into the neighbors. They've got like a tennis/basketball court back here, and I know that's gotta be frustrating. So anyway, we may remove that. We'll see. In fact, this whole back garden is going to see, well, starting with this, quite a change, because we kind of just call it no man's land back here. I mean, there's no reason to come back here. There's some pretty things about it. You know, the boxwoods, I love the boxwood formation, and I'm really kind of trying to think about how I can design a space around that and keep that, but I'm open to removing it as well. Aaron wants it gone so that we can get a pathway through here and really make this a usable space. So we're just going kind of one step at a time. We're going to start with the trees in the back border, and then we'll kind of work our way forward and just see how this space evolves, hopefully incorporating it into the rest of our garden a little bit more and making it a space where we actually want to come. And those are the boxwoods I'm talking about. I love it. They've always been kind of a calming space back here. I've got alliums planted and nepeta in the center. The hard part is that they are overwhelming to this space. So it's really hard until we move the fence. So that's what I'm waiting on. We're going to be removing this fence and opening this up a little bit, and maybe that won't make this feel so menacing, like so huge. But right now you can barely get a cart through either side because it just necks down the space, which makes it kind of uncomfortable. Let's walk out here a little bit, take a look from the other side. So this fence out here, you know, there's the driveway and then there's the Hartley there. And when we redesign this, it'd be nice to create a beautiful vista, you know, so as you're looking out through the Hartley, you can see something gorgeous back here instead of your eyes stopping at a fence. So we've tossed up several ideas, like, well, one, we are removing the fence, maybe leaving the boxwoods, creating a path out this way because this is going to become garden from about the tip of that boxwood over to about the arb. So all of this, the gravel will be removed, and this will also be garden. We've talked about making it a secret garden too, and really planting this border up thickly as well so that you can't really see back here, creating, you know, it'll be completely different though. I mean, it'll then not be open. Who knows? Our plans can tend to change quite quickly. We do talk about these things quite a lot, and then, you know, Aaron will voice a concern or I will have a concern, and then we try to, you know, talk those things out and how can we rectify this or that in this space, and how can we make it a space that we both love. So we try to keep kind of an open mind about how things are going to end up. Here's the view from the other side again, and I don't know if I was just thinking it or if I actually said it earlier, but this blue spruce right here, I'm going to move out to the south garden, I think, because over time I think it's going to get too big, and that's the benefit of setting things out in your grass and just looking at it for a while. But I think in the end it's going to run into the canopy of this tree, and I don't want things to look like they have been mashed into this area. So I'll probably find something that's a little bit smaller in stature to put right there so that everything can cohabitate nicely together. And we'll talk about all of these a little bit more in detail in the end when we do a walkthrough. But what we're dealing with here are Fat Albert Blue Spruce. We are going to get a few skinny green evergreens for that spot. Heritage Birch, tri-trunk, gorgeous. We've got the Oregon Green Austrian Pine, which these might be the smallest growing of all the evergreens that we have out here. Beautiful emerald green, strong structure. We've got Diadora Cedars. These are a wild card in our area. We're hoping that by putting them back here, we've got 2 back here, 1 up front. These 2, I hope that they're protected enough, maybe, like once these get a little bit bigger, that they're protected from our wind. I'm not sure how the one up front will do. Again, this one will be moving or shift it around a bit. We'll see what happens. And then we have Vanderwolf Pine, which grows about 20 feet tall, 15 feet wide, but it's clear of any canopy right here, which is perfect. I won't run into anything. Another heritage birch, another Oregon green on its side, a Diadora Cedar there. And you can see how we're kind of staggering these so they each have their own space to grow, and then we'll have pockets in between to put shrubs and other things. Maybe some large ornamental grasses. Another Fat Albert, a heritage, and Oregon green. So no particular pattern exactly, but repeats of some of the same things. Oh, and I just kind of glossed right over it, but this is a prairie fire crabapple, 4 trunks. Isn't that the coolest thing? I see them in like 3s a lot, but not 4. That's really kind of cool, and it's got a really nice globe shape. Beautiful bright pink blooms in the spring. So we haven't got to bloom stage yet, but it's working on it. And then they have bright red persistent fruit. Persistent fruit means that the fruit stays on the tree. So it doesn't fall on your grass or your lawn or whatever and make a great big mess. It stays on, looks beautiful through the winter. Typically the birds clean it right up, and new growth is what pushes those berries out, but they're typically not left to push out. And then you can see that it's got gorgeous red leaves that kind of deepen to somewhat of a green. It's kind of a bicolor, green and red. And not to mention the color of the bark. Oh my goodness, that is just so beautiful. 15 to 20 feet tall and wide on that one. Okay guys, all we have left to do is get all of these in the ground. How many is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 12. 12. Oh my goodness, 12. Here we go. I love you too, dude. Yeah, you guys, we got it done. Oh my goodness, was this ever a full day. I don't know if you can kind of see through this alleyway of trees, but we ended up using everything and they all fit perfectly. We did reorganize the way the trees sat over on that side, so I'll show you that here in a second. So we'll just start down here with the Oregon green Austrian pine and kind of just run through each one of these trees. And I cannot for the life of me remember between this morning and now how many details I shared about each one of these trees, so if I repeat myself, I'm sorry, it's been a long day. So grows about 15 to 20 feet tall, 15 feet wide. I position these like I did because these grow like a cone, these grow like a V or a vase. So they're opposite one another and they fit together kind of like puzzle pieces. And I think it makes for a really beautiful look in the end. We do have a smoke bush right here, a Rosa Sharon right there, and then a hedge of lilacs that are super duper old. I can't remember, I think it was purple, white, purple, white. No. Purple, white, purple. I can see from the buds. They're all budded up right now. These are going to be our white ones. These will be our purple ones. Anyway, zone 4 through 8 on this one, slow grower, so it should be some time before we actually see major growth on that one. And next, the heritage birch, which will have the beautiful white peely bark. I'm not sure that I showed a close-up this morning, but look at this. Such gorgeous winter interest right here. I just think they're absolutely beautiful. And we get it ×3 with the 3 trunks here. So these in ideal conditions can get, 60 to 70 feet tall. Here they'll probably get on the 35 to 40 foot side of things. And then we've got the Fat Albert Blue Spruce right here, which 40 by 20 at the very end at maturity, but again, a very slow grower. And this one has been sheared. So I know it looks like this perfect cone. And a lot of people come in and say like, oh, this is such a gorgeous tree. But if you look, you can see where the tree has been sheared. So this will take on more of a natural layered appearance over time instead of being a tight cone, which I don't mind. I think it's really pretty that way, but just to let you know that. Zone 2 through 8 on that one. We do have the black lace elderberry here, which in our area, they get this big or bigger every single year. I did not cut this one back this year because I wanted this one to bloom, and I left this one alone as well. So we're just gonna let them both bloom instead of cutting them back. Typically when we cut these shrubs back, we go all the way down to here, like waist high for me. And they still grow that tall. But they're beautiful dark leaf shrub with whitish pink blooms in the spring. And then we have our prairie fire crabapple. So zone 4 through 8 on this one, I think it looks really pretty. Let me go this way. Especially if you're like looking at all the layers, you get to see the blue and the red and the green and kind of that ferny cedar texture. And you look through, you can see Benjamin's playing down there. How cute. Anyway, layers are awesome. I'm just loving it knowing that when we come in again, it's going to be with things like I have some lilacs I picked up. We're going to be putting some other evergreens in here actually. Like I feel like we could pop a smaller evergreen right in here, something tall and skinny. There's just a lot of room for opportunity back here. And we're anticipating this border kind of coming out like right now. We actually didn't hit any irrigation lines. What are the odds of that happening? We thought for sure of all places, not up front where we hit the main water line, we thought of all places we'd be hitting sprinkler lines, water lines, drip tubing, and we ran into nothing. So we could water everything back here if we wanted to, but we're not going to because we are going to be taking out all this grass, which will use far less water back here. Okay, so we're still going to be able to enjoy the pink color on this tree this spring yet. It hasn't bloomed yet. And then our Diadora Cedar, which, they are marginal here, so we're very hopeful. This is actually the one that was the easiest to plant. Of all the 3 that we planted, the root balls were incredibly difficult to work with. Like even in their cages and even tied together, you could feel that they were starting to crumble apart inside. And with them being already a little bit marginal here, wanting higher or lower rather pH, so I'm going to toss some soil acidifier around them. I forgot to do that when we planted them, so it doesn't matter. I'll do it later. Anyway, with the state of the root balls, we're hopeful everything goes okay. But look at this. Look at the color and texture. They're soft, kind of that ferny look. I just love it so much. I mean, talk about instant impact too. We've got another heritage birch right here and another Oregon green Austrian pine. I feel like we could almost put like a little walkway through here, just like little stones. And then we've got a Vanderwolf pine right here. So this one grows about 20 feet tall and 15 feet wide in zone 4 through 7. Again, a very slow grower. And it is, from that other angle, it looks like it's really close to this tree, but it's not. It's got plenty of space upward to get tall, and it only grows 15 feet wide, so 7.5 feet on center, 7.5 feet each way from the trunk. So it should fit this area beautifully. Underneath this box elder, we're just going to leave everything. That's kind of the beauty of this project. I know the way we're doing this project seems incredibly backward, like not removing the grass. I think we're just going to pile stuff on top of it. Aaron wants to try the cardboard and, pile stuff on top of the cardboard to get rid of the grass, which would be way easier. So anyway, we did really nothing to prep this area. We just dug holes and popped the trees in, which is so against my grain. I so like to clean the area out and then go in and start planting and have a fresh start with your irrigation system and all of that. But the nice thing about this is that I have time to either move the perennials that I want or just leave the ones in here. Like we have grapevines back here that we thought we were going to just tear out, but I think we're just going to leave them. We'll leave a lot of the stuff along this back walk, and it can just be like fun little surprise pockets back in here. Because like last year, I planted a bunch of hostas in here that are coming back beautifully. We've got iris back in here. There's a ground cover campanula right there. But we are going to figure out something, like I'm thinking a double file viburnum right in here would be absolutely gorgeous. Actually, it'd probably do better here. Get a little more shade. Over here, maybe a lilac would be nice. But then over here, I think just mainly repeats of things. So we've got another Diadora Cedar, which they were a little hard because the trunks are a little curved, but we wanted overall, you know, it looks pretty straight from this angle anyway. It looks straight from the front too, but we've got another Fat Albert Blue Spruce. We pop out this way. And then there's an Oregon Green Austrian Pine right there. See, we have been working on staking, so after we pack soil in around them, we will stake more. And then there's a Fat Albert Blue Spruce right there. And then the very last one that we did not plant, so we started with the Heritage Birch here. We decided to move this evergreen this way instead of having it close over here because the eventual spread on this one is 20 feet. And that means we want, you know, the spread to be able to come over here and still have a walkway or access to the back of our barn area. And since this one grows like a vase shape, that one can grow in here, and then this one can fill in, kind of like I was talking about, like puzzle pieces. And we've got active water lines right there. So we decided not to do the auger. We're gonna come in just with shovels and just dig a hole the traditional way, and so that we don't break anything in that area. But while we had the auger here, I do know that I want something. My camera just shut off, so I think I was right in the middle of telling you that we went ahead and dug a hole right here because I want to plant something deciduous to fill in this space where we initially had the Heritage Birch, and I'm thinking something with red leaves might be nice. And then we'll start filling in with shrubs and other things in this whole area. It's going to be so much fun. So yeah, other than it being kind of hard physical work, the process is pretty much the same. It's not very complicated. You know, it's the same as when we do smaller things, just kind of amped up a little bit. I mean, using a huge auger like that, that's usually a once a year thing for us, maybe twice, most of the time once. And so it's really a huge help when you're planting things with huge root balls. But we get the hole dug. Biotone starter fertilizer goes in, landed seed compost goes in around the root ball with native soil as well. We water them in really well, and then we just monitor water really closely the first season at least. We keep a pretty close eye on everything every season, but we will run a drip line for these trees. So we'll run a 1/2-inch black poly tube that's just solid, and then we'll spider off of that for each plant so that it's just target watering the root ball of each one of these evergreens and deciduous trees. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Cannot wait to show you progress updates and the rest of the projects that we're going to be doing back here. I mean, you saw, I think it was in the previous video, kind of that little section of shrubs that we have. Some of them will end up in this section, I'm sure. So we'll bring you along for all of that. Anyway, hope you guys are having a great day, and we will see you in the next video. Bye.